Good night, Papua New Guinea, and welcome to another episode of Sports Scene. In the house tonight, we've got a pretty good lineup for you tonight. We've got some rugby league, we've got some football, and we've got rugby union. We'll be talking with the president of the Capital Rugby Union. But before that, viewers, I've got in the house with me Peter Pusala, my new co-host, joining me for the first time tonight on Sports Scene, the third episode. Peter, I am glad you are here with me to spice up the show.
Thanks, Isaac. It's a pleasure to be here and looking forward to a great episode and many more to come.
Yeah. All right, let's go straight into it. Last weekend, Hekari United FC defeated Lae City FC at the Sejong Stadium 2-0, 2-0, and they qualified for the OFC Champions League. Congratulations, Hekari United. Before we check out some of the highlights of last weekend, Peter, your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I'm very surprised that Hekari were able to finish off the job. They did well in Lae to win that match, the first playoff, 2-1, I believe it was. And then they came back home to Port Moresby and they completed the job. So they were very focused. I think part of that was because of the grand final loss in the NSL grand final the week before. And They've lost the grand final, but they've got the next best team. They're playing in the old league now.
It's been a long time coming for Hekari to actually enter the OFC Champions League, and to do that once again, it's really good for Hekari, and it shows that they've got really young players in the squad, and it's really good to see that Hekari's got a bright future.
Yeah, I think you can credit it to their system. They've got a very good system that's worked for them over many years. They've won multiple championships. They've also been to previous O-Leagues. And it doesn't matter who the players are coming through, they always perform. So they can be proud of their system. It's working, and it just proved that they've got something that's worthwhile over there. They made an NSL grand final. They didn't win it, but they came back, they stayed focused, and now they're in the O-League, which is probably the bigger prize, if you ask some people.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Peter. Okay, we'll just check out some highlights from last weekend. Hekari United FC. you have it, some highlights of Hekari United FC's victory last weekend. Now let's check out some scorelines from last weekend. Peter Pusal, over to you.
Thanks, Isaac. Well, we'll start off with the OFC Champions League second playoff. Hekari United 2 defeated Lae City 0 to get that spot. And then we have the FIFA Women's World Cup qualifier. Our women's team over in New Zealand unfortunately lost to Panama 2-0. The NRL preseason round 2 completed over the weekend. We got the Eels 36 defeating the Knights 14, Seagulls 28 over the Roosters 16, Rabbitohs 42 over the Dragons 24, Broncos 20, Cowboys 18, Storm 24 defeating the Warriors 6, West Tigers 36, Raiders 4, Sharks 36 over the Bulldogs 16, Titans 40 over the Dolphins 16, and in the Rugby League World Club Challenge, St. Helens 13 upsetting the Penrith Panthers 12 points.
Yeah, so that game. Marvelous field goal there.
Yeah, it meant a lot to the St. Helens. They were written off by a lot of the press leading into that match, and they proved their doubters wrong in some really weird weather over there in Sydney. I think the temperature was around 36 degrees at the start of the match, or the hour before the match started. Then we had torrential rain throughout the second half of the match, and then that great finish by, I think, Dodd, the halfback for St. Helens.
Also a wake-up call for Penrith Panthers. Anyway, we'll go for a short break. Up next, we got more on Sports Scene. Welcome viewers to another episode of Sports In. Isaac Leary here with you, and today I've got a special guest with me in the house. We are at the Mosby South Stadium, and I've got Bagelo Solien. He's the tournament director for the JT Super Nines tournament. It's going to be a very exciting tournament. We've got a lot of teams lined up, and we've got 3 divisions: the under-20s, the women's, and the men's. Bagelo, I'm sure you're pretty excited for the tournament this year.
Yeah, like every year, it's always something to look forward to.
You know, you've got a lot of teams coming to take part in this tournament. I hear there are a few teams from outside the area.
Yeah, for the first time, we've had a team from Eastern Highlands come down from Lufa. So they've come down, I think, 2 months ago in preparation for this tournament. So they've been here for about 2 months. We've got a team from Kikori as well. Kokori, I think. Purari Kokori, sorry. So they've also been up here for a month preparing for that. And we've got teams from Aroma Coast, Lea. So we've got Gulf Central and Eastern Highlands here.
For Eastern Highlands, how did they make themselves available for this? What sort of process did they go through?
Last year, I think the tournament was televised live on EMTV. So they watched the tournament back in the Highlands. So this is their version to me. And they kind of, said that they'd come and they committed themselves to getting here. They're coffee sellers. They grow coffee and sell coffee. So they sold coffee. They had a couple of fundraisings, raised funds, and bang, came down.
Wow, yeah. Very interesting.
Yeah, I think it's a 38 men squad for both the under-20s and the senior men's.
Okay. All right. We've also got a lot of teams taking part in this year's edition of the tournament. What sort of teams are you expecting to actually be up there, at the top level?
That's a tough question. We've had different winners over the last 6 years. Every year is a different winner. No one really consistently dominates the tournament. I think that's the beauty about the Nines tournament here. It's always evenly contested, so you don't see someone dominating the tournament year in, year out. So again, this year it's going to be unpredictable like every other year. But you got your regulars like the SSG Roosters, the FH Lamas, the Aroma Coast. We've also got our 16 clubs from the Mosby South Rugby League participating. In the last 6 years, I think Sub-City Raiders from Saboma, our local affiliate club, they've been the only team to make it to one of the cup finals. So that's it's interestingly, you think that because it's our tournament, we should be regular fixes in the cup finals, but we aren't. So that just goes to show the evenness with the competition. Yeah.
I've also noticed that there are 3 different divisions. We've got the men's, the women's, and the under-20s. For the women's, just tell us more about the women's. How long have you guys been running? How long has the women's division been part of the tournament?
We introduced the Women's Rugby League into Mosby South in 2017. So being also the maiden year for the JT9s, we introduced women's into the JT9s as well. So we kind of made it not necessarily a tournament just for the senior men's, but we looked at it as more of an identification and development program. So we've got the under-20s that we want to get them exposed to the style of football that they'll get accustomed to later in life, instead of just coming up and getting a culture shock when they come into a tournament they've never played before. So that's why we started the under-20s, likewise the women's as well. So once we introduced the women's competition into the Mosby South Rugby League, we decided to do likewise with the 9s tournament as well.
All right. Also, the tournament will be played here at the Mosby South Stadium. It's a pretty good, impressive stadium here, state of the art. Just tell us about the stadium. I'm sure the participating teams will, really enjoy playing on the pitch and enjoy the venue here.
Yeah, I'm also the venue manager here, so it keeps us on our toes. We've got our work cut out in upkeeping the property. I think on your way you noticed that our guys are just doing finish off works with maintenance and renovation works. The stadium's been open for about 3 years or 4 years, but we'd like to just keep maintaining the place so it's kept at the standard where when people walk in, they're pretty happy with what they see. We do a lot of landscaping around here. Obviously, our open member and sponsor for the JT9s is a gardener himself, so he likes to keep us on our toes when it comes to ensuring that we've got a very nice surround environment here.
Thank you very much, Bagelo. Before we call it off here, is there anyone you want to acknowledge or thank for making all this possible?
Yeah, look, we're fortunate, very fortunate. We have a member like Justin Tuchenko, Honorable Justin. It's his support and his backing that allows us to create these events, these tournaments, and basically set standards that we want to set.
Hello viewers and welcome to another special segment of Sports Scene. Right, I'm here with the assistant coach, assistant coach for Gulf Isou, Moore Evara, also a former proud Gulf Isou player, but now he's retired and he's part of the coaching staff. So, Moore, just tell us how it's like now coaching, retired from playing and now standing outside ordering the players.
It's a bit hard, especially watching the game from the sideline, but I've enjoyed my time playing, and it's good going back to especially the younger boys coming through the system.
Okay, last year the team had a really good run, some wins there in the beginning of the season, but then you guys kind of fell off at the back end of the season. Just tell us, how was that?
Yeah, at the beginning of the season we just wanted to take one game at a time. I think 4 wins under our belt, we just got a little bit ahead of ourselves there. With experience and all that, it really, we could tell halfway through the season we lost it a bit there. We tried to regain it back at the back end of the season, but it was too late for us. We missed out.
Okay, looking back, reflecting on that season, what are some areas of improvement for Gulf Isou this year?
Yeah, it's just our attitude in training, and you train what you want to play, and if you're not putting the effort in here, I don't think you'll take it on, put it up on the field there. And our attitude was something that we needed to work on, and we've tried to iron that out during the break time. And with the boys coming back now, we really emphasize strongly on having the right attitude and getting out there and playing.
All right. Last year's gone. This year's a new year, 2023. Looking forward to the season this year?
Definitely. We had a trial over the weekend with the Hunters. It was good for some of our younger boys coming through the development pathways that we have. It was a big ask for them going up against the Hunters. Some of these guys, they idol them playing up, or they know them playing the GSL Cup, and then they're up to the next level. So it was good for the boys getting out with them there. I know we got a lot from the experience that we have there, and as a coaching staff as well, we know where we are and what we have to work on and what we need to improve before the season kicks off.
Apart from the Hunters, any other trial games?
We're planning a trial up in Yokea, Gulf, but that will be finalized, and we should. But we're planning a trial match up there with one of our Digital Cup franchises here, based in Port Moresby. That is not confirmed as yet, but we should have a trial before round 1.
So what's the group? How many players are you guys looking to have in the squad this year?
We're looking at having about 30 full-time players and managing about 5 development players coming through the system of pathways there.
Awesome. Any new signings? Any big signings? We've seen over the course of last week a few PNG NLC franchises signing big name players. What about Gulf Isou? Anything like that?
Yeah, first of all, at the moment we're working on our development pathways. So we're looking at in the next 5 to 6 years having recruiting players through our system up into the Digital Cup team rather than buying from outside. But at the moment we've signed Justin Yoka and Emmanuel David. Justin Yoka from, I think he played with Wagi Tumbe, and Emmanuel David from the Tigers. So those are our two big signings so far. But based on the trial match over the weekend, we might have to sign some more big boys just to beef up our pack in the middle there.
Finally, any last words? Anyone you want to thank?
Yeah, just to the people of Gulf Province. We're still here. We're still fighting the fight. We will get there one day. It's a building process, and we're trying to rebuild this team and get it back to its glory days. Thank you.
There you have it. That was Moore Evara, one and only former Gulf Isou and now the current assistant coach for the Gulf Isou. That's all from me, Isaac Leary. We'll go for a short break. Up next, we'll go more on Sports Scene.
Welcome back, viewers. Welcome to the final segment for Sports Scene tonight. And in our final segment, we've got the Capital Rugby Union President, Kori Chan, with myself and Peter in the studio. Kori, a very good night.
Good night, Isaac. Good night, Peter. Thanks for having me.
All right, Kori, you've been the president for the Capital Rugby Union for some time now. Just tell us how it's been being up there, the president.
Yeah.
Mr. President.
Yeah, so I've been in the role for 6 years. So I came in 2018, along with a new executive at the time. So our treasurer, Ernie Gangaloff, our secretary, Mary Johns, and my vice president, John Nilkara. So we've been I guess over the last 6 years, it's been an interesting challenge for Capital Rugby. There was a lot of rebuilding coming out of, impasses from the past. And I guess what we wanted to focus on right from the beginning was just getting our game, which we know is a good product in Port Moresby, but just getting a bit of structure and making sure it's organised. And I think we're working in the right direction, but we're really looking now at trying to step up the level of competition, trying to make it a bit more of a commercial model, getting more sponsors on board, and making sure the governance is right as well. So it's been an interesting challenge, particularly going through COVID, Isaac. So we had COVID in 2020, 2021, but I'm really proud of how CRU still managed to deliver our competition during COVID. So we had a continuity plan in place. We had approvals from the controller. It was a watered down competition, but we still played rugby, and that was the important thing. And of course now we've come out of that COVID. I don't know what you say. I don't want to remember it. I think we're all wanting to forget it, but we've come out of that crisis now, and last year was just good to get the basic fundamentals in place for our comp, but this year we're really trying to step it up.
Wow. Okay. You send a copy of the calendar. We've taken a look, and we've got the pre-season coming up soon. So we're in February now. So we got the pre-season coming up soon?
Yeah, correct. So we received our national calendar from PNG Rugby in January of this year. So we couldn't really sort of roll out our intended program until we saw what that looked like. So that's why it's sort of been delayed somewhat. But yeah, no, we've now decided that we're going to have 3 weeks of pre-season starting on the 11th of March. And then on the 1st of April, we start our season proper. Unlike the previous years, we won't play 2 rounds, but we're going to play 16 games, 16 rounds. So not everyone will play each other twice, but it'll be 16 rounds, and then we'll have a top 4 final, which will be a 3-week process for finals. So our grand final for this year for the 15s will be on the 12th of August.
Well, Kori, you learned a lot from your 2022 season. You had a few innovations that you put into your competition. I think one of them was the live streaming. What are the other things that fans and players and clubs can expect in the 2023 season?
Yeah, no, definitely. So you're a part of that program with us, Peter, so thank you. But yeah, no, look, we tried to, I guess, as I mentioned before, CRU, we've got a steep history in terms of the game. We've got clubs that are, approaching 60 years of competing in the nation's capital. I think Brothers are about to have their 50th next year, or 55th, sorry.
Yeah, they've been around.
Excuse me if I'm incorrect with those years, but they're celebrating major milestones for their clubs, and there's a lot of history there. Last year we had Defence Rugby come back and join. So we've got the 3 foundation clubs of not just PNG Rugby, but Port Moresby Rugby back into the competition. So that's been good. We wanted to. I guess what we're trying to do at CRU now is it is a grassroots competition, but we need to start building that tier or that bridge leading to representative rugby. So we need to focus on numbers coming through, yes, but we also want to try and build that quality in the game as well. So I think we're starting to get there. I think the clubs are starting to, they've turned a corner, and they're realising that, to be a part of the CRU, you've really got to lift your standard. So look, I think probably one of the ways in which we've tried to improve that quality of the game is by introducing our live streaming last year. And I guess what that's done is it's allowed us to, we really introduced it just to test out the market.
Thanks, Kori. Unfortunately, we've run out of time there. Very detailed feedbacks coming from Kori there. Kori, we really appreciate your time joining us here on Sports Scene. We'll just go through our weekend sports reviews for this weekend. In Rugby League, we've got the SP PNG Hunters going up against the Central Queensland Capras. And in netball, we've got the Private Companies Netball Competition Grand Finals that will be taking place on Saturday at the Rita Flynn Sports Complex. As you can see up in the screens, the draws. And the Premier Division, we'll see Post Korea go up against Moore Printing. And that's a wrap for tonight, folks. On behalf of the entire Sports Scene crew, I just want to say, remember, sport is powerful.